All right. Welcome to another Crossroads podcast with the Lucky Valentines. How's it going,
Hi.
guys?
Good. How
Hey,
are you
I'm
guys
doing
doing?
well.
Good. I'm out here just outside Helena. You guys are out in Fort Benton,
Yes.
Montana?
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Birthplace of Montana.
Yeah.
It's the
What's
oldest.
that?
It's the
Birthplace?
birthplace of Montana. Yeah.
Is it really?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is as far up the river as the steamboats could come. So it's like the beginning of the bootlegger trail where you know, illegal whiskey and such would come. Go all the way like up to yeah, I know.
It's
We have the bloodiest block in the West, apparently.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The whiskey trade. That's actually how Fort Benton got its name. Uh, Senator Thomas Hart Benton from Missouri. Uh, so what happened was they were selling whiskey out of the fort. They weren't supposed to be, but they were selling whiskey out of the fort,
Hmm.
and they got caught. And Thomas Hart Benton from Missouri got involved and like pulled some strings to get people off, so they didn't get in trouble in this. They named the town after him.
Oh, right on.
Politics
Hey.
at its finest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true that.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
Yeah.
rad. Yeah, I haven't been out to Fort Benton too much. I'm originally from Great Falls, so
No,
I
me
have
too.
been out there a little bit. Oh, nice.
Huh.
Yeah, I'll have to
I'm born
come
and
check
raised
it
there.
out. Yeah, Great Falls is rad.
I
Montana's a
love,
beautiful place,
sure,
Yes.
for sure.
and there's no place like home. So you guys play music out in Fort Benton a lot?
Yeah, we play more. Like we've been playing around Montana for the last, I guess, 12 years that we've been together.
Yeah.
But we
Your
play
guys'
like,
music is beautiful, by the way.
thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
Yeah, I definitely. I'm starting trying to be better about building playlists and stuff. So I'm like, wow, if my wife hasn't heard you yet, I haven't showed her, but I'm like, okay, she's definitely gonna be playing this all the time.
Oh, thank
Well,
you.
that's thank you. That's high praise.
Yeah.
We're happy. Anybody's happy to hear us, I guess. So,
Yeah,
um,
it's such a nice like. I mean, do you guys categorize yourself as like folk or anything like that?
Yeah, when we had to start like putting ourselves in a genre, we chose Americana just because it's so overreaching.
Mm-hmm.
But we've kind of moved more towards calling it folk because Americana often is more like the sort of bluegrass and country style. And I'd say we definitely are more like folk singer songwriter. But I
yeah,
also like to think that we're not firmly in a category, but that might just be my own
yeah,
um, desire that we're.
That's music. I know how you feel. Like
yeah.
just create
I
the
don't know.
music you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And there's so many different influences that we love that like it kind of bums me out if someone says like, oh yeah, you guys are a country band. Like I'm like, no, I mean we're definitely country people and we're
Mm-hmm.
influenced by, that was one of our huge influences, both of us growing up, but there's just so much other music too that has definitely played a role in our life and in our the sounds we love.
yeah. The older I get, though, the less afraid I kind of am, I guess, of like playing with a genre name or whatever, like,
Mm-hmm.
or like the less afraid I am of being categorized.
Sure.
I definitely feel like this music is very at home under the label of like folk music specifically, because like folk music does sort of, there are so many other musics are derivative of that, I
Right.
guess. That folk has its fingers into country music and
Blues.
blues music and that whole thing, like in sort of a like chicken and egg kind of way, where it's like it gets pretty tangled up when you try and ascertain which one was the original kind of thing, and um I love that about folk music. I love that it's literally music of the people, you know what I mean, from whatever region you might be discussing. Like there's folk music from Scotland, there's folk music from
Right.
France, there's folk music from from Manitoba, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I
Even
mean, the
man,
Montana, you guys definitely have that Montana vibe and that sound that's like super chill. I'm gonna have to check out more of it now that I've just, started to listen. I can
Mm.
like go down your guys' rabbit hole and just like dig deep because it's
like
definitely some music that I can turn on and if I'm like working away at the computer as well, and it just makes such great music. It's some of my favorite types of music actually. And so, were you guys saying you mainly play around Montana?
So we actually we were working on starting to get outside the state.
Nice,
Uh,
yeah.
Jamie had worked really, really hard across the backside of 2019 in the last quarter, getting a tour booked on the West Coast, where
Nice.
we had um, a good handful of shows on the West Coast booked in the spring of 2020, and
Right on.
right about the time COVID hit,
Of course.
all of that got kind of shut down, and
That
so
was a bummer.
it was a big bummer.
For
Yeah.
So
sure.
we've sort of and 2021 has been kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with things opening back up and what kind of model things are going to be built on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think um, I think we'll probably chase that again. But the last 2 years have been pretty Montana based, and 2021 was pretty muted. It was pretty not as many shows as 2020 was.
Yeah. But we have played in Salt Lake City a couple times, and then in Austin, Texas. And just
Nice.
a couple weeks ago,
3 weeks ago, yeah.
Sean got to go visit New York City and played a gig there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I've
it's
never
kind
been
of
to New York. How was it?
I was spent most of my time in Brooklyn, and
Uh-huh.
Brooklyn is fantastic place. It's absolutely beautiful. I never thought in a million years that I could love a big city that way, but I really fell in love with New York while I was there. It's a really magical place.
Well, I can't wait
Lots.
to see where your guys' music takes you because I definitely can see it taking you places.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're excited. I mean, hopefully so. I hope that we do sound like Montana, because if we could bring the sound of Montana, like if we could bring people to us musically, you know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah.
that would be, I think that's a goal. But we love being home here too. We love traveling, but it's always good coming home to this place. So,
Yeah, for sure. Well, you guys are a couple, right?
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we
so-
actually we were married on Valentine's Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
We
Is
married
that
in May.
where the name kind of spawned from?
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
when we really decided that we were going to go for it musically, we messed with a couple other names, like tried a couple different things out.
Our first show we actually played at the Student Union building in Bozeman at the university there, and
Nice.
we billed ourselves as Sun to the South. That was the name we played under.
Sun to the south.
Sun to
Yeah.
the South, which I was thinking about wintertime. You know what I mean? How the sun,
Right.
you live in the northern hemisphere, the sun moves further south and days get shorter. And so I thought
That's a
that
cool
was
name.
I thought it was an okay name,
But then it kind of just didn't roll off the tongue very well. And I was like, we were married on Valentine's Day. It's kind of a memorable name. But then after we started calling ourselves that, it turns out there's an Irish rock band named Lucky Valentines in New York. And there's
Oh,
a rap.
right.
Then there's a rapper named Lucky Valentine. So
Oh, really? Yeah.
yeah.
I know it's so hard to be original sometimes, and be like, oh, it's not already out there somewhere,
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
But like you say, I think that if your fans find you, regardless.
Right. What more can you ask?
Yeah, for sure. So, well, is that your plans for 2022 then? Is to start to shoot for setting up another tour in the next
Yeah,
year?
we got a really great opportunity to play on this awesome show, 11th and Grant with Eric Funk, and so we actually filmed
Nice.
that. We got to do the filming for that in July, which was just the most fun. They're the coolest people, with this crew of probably 23 or 24 people, and every single one of them just bent over backwards to make us feel welcomed and cared for.
Yeah. Consummate professionals.
Yeah. So our
Nice.
show airs in May, which we're pretty excited about.
So
With
what
the
is
plan-
it?
So it's on Montana PBS, and it's actually won Emmys in the same category as Austin City Limits. Limits.
Nice.
Like they film a live performance of different groups, different people, super high quality recordings, and then do
Oh,
interviews
rad.
interspersed in that. Yeah, it's really cool. Like just really beautiful lighting and stuff.
Mhm.
And so yeah, like I said, they've actually won awards for that in the same category as Austin City Limits is at, and it actually airs right before Austin City Limits, so it's a music lovers show.
When is that? So when does it air?
So our show airs in May of
Okay.
2020. Yeah, so the plan is to kind of have, hopefully there are some stations that air the show that are out of Montana, and we'd like to kind of find those places and book a tour sort of with that in mind, just sort of like places that maybe people will have seen the show.
Oh,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah, and also just hopefully that will be like a next step kind of thing for us too, in terms of visibility in Montana at a
Right.
different booking echelon, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, it sounds cool. I mean,
Yeah.
the internet, everybody has access to the internet, but those types of things that come around, that's it's a little more rare,
Yeah,
A
it's
lot more rare.
yeah, and it's cool because their whole premise is showcasing Montana musicians. So they're all about like up and coming. So I don't know if you know Lainey Lou and the Bird Dogs or like Paige and the People's Band. Those are some of the people that have been on there. The
I will
Dusty
check
Pop-
them out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're great. And so it feels like a whatever it becomes, we've sort of learned not to set our hopes on one single thing. I was like, this is the thing that
Right.
change it all. Like we've kind of done that a few times and not necessarily been disappointed, just been like, well, it was just another
Just
gig
another
and
thing,
just
yeah.
another
Right. Which isn't, I think I don't think that's about the quality of the opportunities. I
No.
think it's about the
reality.
the understanding of the reality of the opportunities, which
Yeah.
is that like these jobs, being a musician, right? Being a musician and playing shows at venues, like, it's a job. It's a profession, and the people who carry it out and succeed behave professionally and do it as professionals, and so like learning how to engage with those things that way has been a really valuable lesson,
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
not being too starry-eyed about it, I think,
Yeah.
because we've definitely been starry-eyed.
I'm super
Oh,
sorry.
for sure. I think it's you always got to have that twinkle in your eye,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And yeah, but at the same time, like you say, keeping that reality of how it is kind of as you know, like you say, it's kind of that folk way too, where it's like, kind of a grassroots, do it yourself as an independent artist. If you're not working with a major company or industry that's doing it for you, you have to book the shows yourself and make the contacts. And you guys record yourself? I've seen you have a home studio or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually in it right now.
Yeah.
It's our attic.
Nice.
So yeah, the
Home
first
studios, I love them.
Yeah,
Always.
it's been really cool. The first professional album we put out, Lion in the Garden, we did record that at two different studios, one in Great Falls and one down in Amsterdam, Montana.
Mhm.
And we really liked working with the guys who did it, but it just, like, you have to cram so much into a little time. And
Right.
one of us always would like come down with a cold, the day before we're recording for 2 days in a row or whatever. And it just felt like we always had to like kind of cram everything in. So this last album we did, Horses, we did record everything at home, and it was really nice to just be able to take our time.
Mhm.
And sometimes we had to be done. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
if you know this, but like you can always keep doing it again and again and again. And we've kind of come to the point where we've learned you just have to cut yourself off sometimes.
Yeah.
And then you come back to it and listen later, and it's like, oh yeah, that was all right.
Yeah, I've come to really like the 3-take rule. Like, okay, we're gonna
Mhm.
work on this song, we're gonna do 3 takes of it, and then we're gonna walk away from it. Whether the takes were great or not, we're gonna walk away from it. And then if we need to do 3 takes again later, we can do that. But let's just kind of give ourselves that sort of structure as both as like an out of being
Yeah.
like, okay, all I have to get done right now, and also as a means of being like, okay, this creates a manageable workload. We can actually do that. I don't know. My favorite records have always been the ones where it sounded like they manage to like trap something magical.
Oh, the energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. They feel alive. They don't necessarily feel. I mean, there are definitely some super polished recordings that are. It's remarkably apparent that they've been arranged and engineered to the point of perfection, and like and that whole thing. And like I love that sound sometimes, but the stuff that really has always moved me has been the really raw, alive sounding stuff where it's like, oh man, it's a good thing they had. It's a good thing they had tape rolling on that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so kind of shooting for that sort of feeling has always sort of been the model, you know.
Yeah.
But again, like Jane was saying, it's really easy to just drive yourself insane trying to manufacture that by doing
Yeah.
900
And
takes.
sometimes if you don't set a deadline for yourself, or like you say, that 3 recordings rule or whatever, then you could spend 100 tries and never be satisfied, and then it just never gets done. And
Sure.
Right.
it's yeah, I seen that you guys, that Horses one, you just sent it out to some other people to help with the other mixing and mastering stuff. You guys probably do some in home too, or
That's something we worked really hard at trying to do, and just realized that that is a completely different skill set than writing songs and making them, because recording in itself is just, it's a different, it is not the same as playing live. You'd think that if you play live a bunch, you can just walk in and do it and it works, but it's like, no, there's a bunch of different behind the scenes elements to that.
Yeah.
So we're really pleased to know a guy named Dave Martins who is in Havre, and he's part of making Havre into a super vibrant music scene too.
Nice.
But he had us up to talk. He runs KNMC, the college radio up there, and he had us up to talk, and he ended up giving us 2 albums. One was Caroline Keys, the other was Isaac Opatz. They're both Missoula artists, super good. But the Caroline Keys album, we're driving home from Havre, which is like an hour and a half drive from us, and it was dark out, like, I think even winter time.
It was
so
awesome.
It's super dark. We put in this album, and we're both just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like suddenly you're transported, or like just this
a big vibe.
Really cool,
vibe,
great vibe. And so
nice.
We were like, who did this album? So we looked it up, emailed the guy, and we were like, would you be interested in working with us? And he's like, yeah, sure. What? Yes.
Nice.
So yeah, it was really cool. So he ended up, that's Adam Selzer. He did the mixing. He's in Portland. And then a guy that I actually was introduced to as an 18-year-old musician. I have this uncle who took me to LA to record for 5 days. It was an amazing experience.
Nice.
And so yeah, this guy's work, his name's Marty Rivkin. He's worked with like Bruce Springsteen and Jewel and some huge names. He's just he's a great guy. And so same thing, we're just like, hey, can we afford you? Can we actually like pay you to
right?
And great to work with. And I feel like that's one thing it took us a while to learn too, is like, just ask.
Yeah.
Reach out, listen for what you like, ask. And the worst thing someone's going to say to you is no, or ignore you, which kind of sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
Been ignored.
It's like you say though, it's kind of part of the game.
Right.
The whole like, oh yeah, you win some, you lose some, or every 10 places you try to book at, then one comes through, right? Or whatever.
Sure.
And somehow it's always the right one way or another, right? Like that's part of it too, is the things that don't work out, there must be a reason. And sometimes it's hard not to take that personally, but I think that the truth is some people just might be too busy, or they didn't have to even listen, or I try not to take it too personally anymore, because you just don't know.
I think it all comes with time, just like the longer you do it, the more you understand, because I felt the same way when you're just first starting out. It's like, oh, the rejection, so harsh, and it might be not even intended. You just think it was a rejection. It's like, oh, I didn't see your message.
Right, exactly. So you're like, I'm sharing my soul with you. Will you accept my soul? And if
right,
like,
they're like, yeah, you're the 30th person today.
Yeah, for sure, and that is the reality of it.
You know what I mean? And it's like, and no, you're like, no offense intended, but you're the 30th person today, and that's so just like, I think that's been huge, is like learning how to properly weight things, right? And keep things right sized with regard to that stuff. That's big. That's big stuff. That's grown up stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you say being
So
a professional, it is
yeah.
really a key thing in like just how you conduct yourself. And
Mhm.
oh, you have a website, which is professional.
Jamie.
Thank you.
Jamie. That's Jamie.
Well, I have a cousin who we have to adjust our camera
Sorry, I have
every
that.
little while.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah, I do maintain the website, and I've had outside help, which has been huge. And honestly, Squarespace is pretty easy to manage. That's who we go through, and I've been very pleased with how really truly manageable it is. It's not hard to change things. It's not hard to kind of like see what it will look like when it goes live and stuff. And I've been really grateful for that, for the input we had with people who gave advice on that. It's been kind of fun.
Yeah, I'll definitely put your links below because it helps. Just the website, when you can just punch in one website and find you guys, and then it links to everywhere else.
Yeah, thank you. We will.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some more I was gonna talk to you about. I just kind of had like a brain fart or something for a second.
That happens to me all the time.
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna ask you guys about your music. So you record it and you guys release it yourselves.
Right.
Yes. We have gone through CD Baby, which is it's like a DIY site, but then they take care of like royalties and different things. And
Yeah,
honestly,
CD Baby is rad.
Yes, and actually one of the reasons that I think we'll probably stick with them forever. We went to one of their conferences. It actually was just our excuse to go visit my sister in Spain because they happened to hold a conference. I know, right?
Yeah. You guys want to play music in other countries too?
Oh yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
We couldn't afford to bring instruments with us that time. But yeah, no, I would love to get over to Europe and play.
Yeah, but the personnel from CD Baby they were so Canada.
Hey, it's international, yeah. It's just like a stone's throw away.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're like literally 120 miles from the border, if that.
Play the Moose Jaw Country Club.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'd do it.
I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so we've really been again, we like being independent. There's so many different options, and here's our dog clicking around.
Nice.
So it's nice to have those like sort of outlets like CD Baby that streamline a lot of it, because even just trying to figure out which internet accounts do we keep, Reverb Nation and SoundCloud and CD Baby, and it's like managing all that can just be really overwhelming. So I've given up on a lot of it and just let CD Baby handle some of it, and that we don't have all the different platforms you can be on, because it's just so much maintenance.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's trying to simplify it and make it easy, which like things like the website really help with that. Yeah. It's like you don't have to find me on all this different stuff, but you guys have sweet videos on YouTube as well.
Thank you. That's again, like YouTube is
the tiny desk one with you lit it on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was sweet.
That song is actually about Great Falls. That fire.
Oh, nice.
Night. Yeah. But yeah, it's funny, like all the different things we've tried to get the attention of people like Bob Boylan, the tiny desk guy, like, we're lighting this on fire, please notice us. And now we just it's all tongue in cheek now. We're like, oh, we made another losing tiny desk video.
I know, yeah. Right.
Because it's just, you might as well try, but again, not take it too seriously. But thank you. We really have fun making videos. And
that's been a fun skill set to sort of explore and like get better at, and learn about f-stops and ISOs and lenses and lighting and color grading and all that stuff. I've really, really enjoyed learning about videography and how to edit that stuff. And
the interesting thing though is we have all these what we think are great ideas for music videos. So what you don't see is how many hours and failed tries we have. Like we have so many hours of footage on our computer that like we tried really hard, but the wind was blowing the whole time, or one of us forgot to push record on either the audio or the, just stupid things that like someday we'll make a video that
Well, yeah, because it's like all that could be used one day when it's like, oh yeah, it's came to this point that this documentary is being made about,
yes.
all this time.
Yeah.
So how long have you guys been doing it as the Lucky Valentines?
We met playing music. So kind of literally from the minute we met, the first time we hung out, we started playing music together. But we really started like trying to, I guess for a while we thought we might be okay with just having it be like our hobby. But about 6 years ago, we were like, no, honestly, this is what we want to do with our life. This is how we want to make our living and what we want to do. So I'd say that we really started being serious about it like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And
approaching it as a small business.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So 6 years. 6 years.
Nice.
But before that, we started writing songs like, I don't know, a day after we started hanging out. And so that's been kind of cool. We've definitely grown and changed and learned a lot. And there's so much more yet to learn.
Yeah, so how is it being a couple and raising a family and making music together, and like, because I'm sure you probably have to bounce ideas off of each other, like, no, this is a good idea, or this is bad, or this is how we should do it.
So let's see here. We write separately most of the time. Like I'll come home from I work a day job, and Jamie works a day job too.
Not full time.
Not full time. We both neither one of us work full time. We both work at the same restaurant, actually, and we just work separate shifts, sort of thing. Nice. And then James homeschools the kids as well, and so.
Nice.
But what will happen is I'll come home.
Homeschooling my kids.
Nice. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. It's really a wonderful thing.
For sure.
Pause for a second. I saw you had an 8-year-old son. Do you have more than the son?
My daughter Journey, she's gonna be 5 in December.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, you have 4 kids?
We have 4 kids. Yeah,
that's a lot of energy.
It's so much energy.
So much energy.
They have all my energy. I don't have mine anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Jamie, can you stop, please?
It's so yeah. I'll come home and Jamie will have like a big chunk of a song fleshed out, and she'll play it. Like last night, she came home. She's like, "You want to hear a new song that I'm working on?" It's like, "Yeah, I want to hear a new song that's working on it." And sometimes we'll give each other notes. Sometimes we won't. And sometimes she'll play something for me, and I'll be like, "That's awesome the way that it is." And other times, the majority of the time, what winds up happening is if one of us sits down to start playing a song for the other one just kind of automatically picks up an instrument and starts playing with, and trying to carve out that pocket where when live performance comes around, that'll be the spot, in the arrangement. We're just basically learning that way.
And usually, I think we're both, I don't know if we had to learn this, but we both kind of withhold notes until we can tell the other person is comfortable with the song. Like, how when you first start, you write songs? Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So like you sing it a couple times and it doesn't quite fall into place yet. And we try not to like give each other too much input until we've gotten comfortable with it.
Right.
And then there's definitely times where I'm like, when you first sang that for me, you did this with your voice and you should keep doing that. Or like what if you tried such and such? But balancing it all, like I'd say there's times where music is the glue and times where we have to really be intentional about making time for music, because it's easy to push it aside because the children's needs are so loud. But we both get really like not okay if we're not playing. And
yeah, music is a great outlet for all that energy and thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool. Like it's almost like some people are singers but not performers. Some are writers but not singers. And we both have kind of like almost the exact same thing. Like, we really, really get fed from performance. We both love writing. and we need to make music, and it like if we hate each other for, you know, in the way couples sometimes do, we play music and then it's like,
relationships
okay, that's
and
good
life.
again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I guess, you know, the music is it is a magical thing. It's for sure.
Yeah.
And relationships and family, and to see you guys pulling it off, I'm super stoked. And the music, man, dude, it's super great music. So I guess, you know, you've been doing this independently and stuff. Just out of curiosity, are you guys? What are your thoughts on, you know, like investors, if they're like, yeah, we love your music and we want to invest in you, and here's a record deal, we want to put you out on the road, and this is, you know how it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
We've definitely thought about that and wondered if this is the time in our life where we should be almost seeking that out, because having either like a label or an investor or something bigger behind us that has a more of a reach than we do. But we both know ourselves well enough that it would just need to be the right deal. Like we would need to understand what that meant to that investor or that label or whoever, and what it would look like.
I think that's the main thing, is like, as it stands, the way we've been able to move thus far, we've been able to do it in a way that works for us and works for our family, and those are the things that are important, you know. Like I've been a poor musician for several years now,
right?
You know what I mean? And it hasn't killed me.
So, you can live with it, you know.
Right. So if
and
someone's
sometimes
gonna
you just rather live with that.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If somebody's gonna offer me to be like a financially solvent musician, but all of the stuff of my life is gonna have to go in the crap, you know, to get that, then it's like, it's not worth it.
And that does happen.
For sure.
For sure. And or you just, you know, people get too busy and caught up in go that, you know.
I'm not interested in looking back on my life at 68 or 70 years old and like wondering where my kids are, you know what I mean? Or like wondering what would have happened if things hadn't have fallen apart with my wife. Like, I'm not interested in that life. I want to look back on my life and be close to my family, you know.
Well, that's good, because some people just want to run away from it.
No.
You know, and they're like, I don't care, I'll go live my life. You know.
Yeah. That's, again, I feel like it's kind of good that we're both musicians, because if he was doing this on his own, I definitely would resent him. You know, like the late night.
You'd be wondering, like, who's out there watching?
Yeah, exactly. How are the fans tonight, Sean?
Right. Yeah.
But doing it together, like, it actually is something that builds our relationship, and we just both, like, we both get it. So it. But I mean, yeah, with the kids as they get older, it's kind of nice because they're just more. Well, we hope they join our band. That's our real goal. But none of them are like.
Sure.
Yeah, they're not quite there yet, but.
So do you guys? It's just mainly you two as the duo, or do you play with like a drummer ever? Or
I'd say we're the core. Like Lucky Valentines is us, and then there are like extraneous kind of not extraneous, but like extended Valentines.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
That makes sense.
Like
certain performances and whatnot.
Right. We've got a buddy who I actually kind of cut my teeth with as a musician, who will play with us often. We got a gig with him next week, actually, named Grant Stebbins, who's a Great Falls guy.
He's wonderful.
He's a really wonderful guy. And then we've got a local guy here who drums, who we've played some shows with. There was another guy from Missoula who came through named Zach Meyer. He played on the record.
It's harder, like, Fort Benton is little, and it's been hard to find, like, there's people who have been great to play with, and we've made it work, and then there's been people who we kind of want to play with, but it's just hard to find the time sometimes. Like, it's nice, it's when it's us, you know, we can stay up till midnight and play, and it's not getting in anybody's way, but to actually make band practices happen has sometimes been the challenge, and then other times it's just that we don't have the right personnel, or the people that we're playing with have like another job that's their real job. But ideally,
Right.
honestly, we would love to have a touring band and do that for, I don't know, years, a summer, I don't know, any amount of
Yeah,
time. We would
I
love
can
that.
definitely see it happening.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
hopefully, that's one of my intentions with this podcast is, other than me to just connect with people and, you know, sort of cross promote and stuff like that, is to branch everybody with each other. Because hopefully I can communicate with people throughout the nation, and then we all like discover each other. And, you know, for the do-it-yourself, booking tours, and you're like, well, I see that these people put on these types of shows in this area, so, you know, because I imagine it's probably you guys doing that as well, doing the booking.
definitely. There have been tons of times where I'm like, hey, these musicians are similar to us. Where have they played? Look it up, get in touch with those places, you know, like, and sometimes it's worked out, sometimes not, but definitely like kind of, and like you're saying, and doing the connecting thing. I think it took us a while to kind of realize how much we needed other musicians, whether or not they were ever going to play our kind of music, or whether we'd, you know, get anything out of it. Just connecting with other musicians in Montana and supporting each other, how, whatever that looks like, whether it's sharing when they've come up with a new project, or you know, going to their shows, whatever, just trying to be the kind of people that we want people to be for us, sort of like,
yeah, true. It's the
doing our
golden
best.
rule, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and the other thing that's been kind of cool too is like in 2018, I think it was 2018, 2019, we got introduced to the concept of house shows. We got booked for a really, really wonderful house show. And then we decided that we would we started booking house shows as well
Nice.
for ourselves with other people, you know, kind of seeking that out with others, but then also finding acts that we're really, really stoked about, who are at an approachable level, and like inviting them to come play here in Fort Benton, and then kind of crossbreeding that with the skill set that we've had to develop with trying to build a presence on YouTube and that whole thing. And so what we've actually started doing is we just finally got one where I had the full package put together for a guy from Missoula named Jackson Holty out. He's a great songwriter.
He's really good.
He's really, really very good. He came out and he played a show, and I was able to have him play a full set, offer him a multi-tracked recording of the set. So stems for all the separate instruments, all the separate channels, stems for that, alongside like a video package. I was able to shoot the whole show. And so like that's a way that we're trying to engage with the community, like you're trying to build as well, where it's like, we can't afford to pay you $500 to come play here, but we can pass the hat and offer you this like material that will be high quality, you know, high definition video, and like 44.1, you know, megahertz high quality audio that you're able to able to engineer and put together a nice post-production package for promotional material.
And then it works on Sean's skill sets that he's developing too, with the sound engineering and the videography too, which are
actually did that when I went to Brooklyn as well. I took all the equipment with me and
nice,
recorded and shot the show in Brooklyn. I fit it all into a guitar carry-on bag. It was awesome.
Is that out on the internet, or is it just still on your hard drive?
Not yet.
It will be, but
yeah, I'm still in the process of handling a lot of the editing. I just finished the color grading on it. So
well, geez, you guys sound like a whole batch of tricks. Like you got, you have a lot of skills, and
we're trying to, because we like I think when you live in like a college town, you meet college students who are working on these skills. But for us, we kind of waited around to like hopefully meet people who, and then finally we're like, you know what? If we want to make good videos and if we want to record good audio, we just need to start doing it. And so it's a little bit of an investment. And Sean is like, that's something he gets very excited about. So
spending money on gear.
And then learning how to use the gear, which is a huge deal. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we want to be, because we really love living in this small town, but it can be very dry in terms of artistic community. So we want to be able to be like, hey, that we can do this and this and this for you. We will make it worth you coming here. Please come. And we have our community, like our listening community, is actually amazing here. We have a really good, like, strong core group of people who show up and give as much as they can, and just love that connection that these house shows bring. And any music that comes, really, there's like a really good receptive audience for it. But yeah, in terms of like being a full package deal, we're trying to kind of just do our best to make our home the kind of vibrancy that we want it to be, like, because
you definitely, I like the slogan. It says making sad things beautiful since 2009.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really is true, because I'm just like, dude, it has a really good feeling, you guys' music. And the sound of it is, I will definitely be listening to it a lot.
Thank you.
I like listening to music like your guys' music anyways, but it's always nice to listen to people that I know or have a connection with. So, I mean, thank you for actually reaching out to me, and because I've had quite a bit of like hip hop artists on here so far. And I'm trying to tap more into the singer-songwriter realm, and then get into bands. And yeah, I was stoked you reached out, because it's pretty new right now. Yeah. This is like the 20th one I've done or something like that.
But you've done like 20 in like a month, which is...
Well, there's a lot of independent artists out there that need more promotion and connection, especially I think in Montana. There's a beautiful music scene here that I think that the world still needs to hear a lot of the music that comes out of Montana.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. And having met more and more musicians here, you're so right. And I think sometimes even a couple of years ago, I still thought that there wasn't much going on in Montana. But as soon as you start actually connecting and listening, like, there's really great art being made here in lots of different capacities too. Like, we've gotten to kind of connect with some different filmmakers. I mean, there's just so much happening here right now. And I think it's going to be really cool to kind of see even more of that in the coming years. Because I don't know if it's new or if I'm just noticing it, or if the internet's making it easier to really, for people to actually show what they're doing. But it feels like a pretty sweet time right now for Montana art.
Yeah, I'm glad we're able to do this. So you guys have new projects? You're always working on new material then?
We honestly, so with the independent release thing, there was a little bit of like when Horses was, we did it a single at a time online. Like, we have a physical album of the whole thing, the way we wanted it to be, in order and everything. But we thought that for internet, for the way that things work, it'd be best to do it single by single online. And at the end of that, there was sort of like it just felt kind of like a bummer. Like, it didn't explode online. We didn't get to go on tour because of COVID.
Right.
It felt like a little bit of a bummer I don't know what I'm trying to say, except it hasn't made itself back yet,
right,
monetarily.
Right.
But that being said, yeah, we already have like two full albums worth of songs that haven't been recorded. And I think,
oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, like we just write all the time, and not all the time. We go through total phases. Sometimes we don't write for months, but we have a lot of songs, and some of them are, like, for me anyways, are some of the most personal songs I've written. And so I've kind of had this idea brewing, and I think that next year we'll go for it. And it's either an album or an EP, and I have the name for it. It's not a song, but it's just the name of the album will be Losses. So it's like, nice. maybe sadder songs, but more like, just kind of like more of, because I often write from other people's perspective. It's way easier for me to like get into someone else's head and then write that way. But writing my own feelings can sometimes feel kind of maybe just more scary or less. It's harder to find the actual words that I really mean.
Mm-hmm.
I have a few songs that have actually come out, and I'm like, man, this is like me. And so yeah, that's kind of the next album project. But we've had this other project that we've been brewing on for years, and it's like a time traveling jukebox couple.
What? I love
Yeah.
the sound of that.
We really do too.
Yeah.
But
Wait,
this is why
so
we're working on
what
that.
is the idea
Anybody with a
behind it?
jukebox?
Yeah. So it actually started because when we recorded that first album with our friend CJ Blessum, I was pregnant at the time, like big pregnant, and we didn't know what kind of baby we were having. So the joke was that it was either going to be named Sharona or Floyd. So there's this just big thing about Sharona and Floyd and their love story and whatever. And so since then, and like with different songs we've written that are kind of story songs or just like feeling songs, we're like, that needs to go in the Sharona and Floyd story. So I'm not sure. We just can't quite figure out what it looks like.
Yeah.
Like, is it a movie with songs? Because he hates musicals. Or is it like songs that tie together? Is it, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's lots of different ideas floating around, but
sounds like a cool idea. It sounds like a really far out idea. It's like
So it's far out and kind of half baked at present, but I think
it sounds fun.
Yeah,
kind of, which is cool. Like you say, when you're like different types of songs. Some songs are like fun, or like you say, sad. Make it sad and make it, sound beautiful and happy
and connective. Like we like connection. So like the idea of these people who like meet in different ways in different time frames of their life, or like, we're still storyboarding it out and figuring out how it's going to actually look, but there will be projects.
Gotta find a jukebox.
a time machine jukebox. Is that the thing? Is it like the jukebox is a time machine?
Yes.
That's exactly right.
It sounds like a cool like Bill and Ted movie or something.
Well, I mean,
that's mixed with like I don't know. It just sounds. There might. It sounds like something really cool. That's all I can say. I'm like, man, I'm looking forward to that too.
Cool. Yeah. Well, the idea I feel like it's kind of rooted in that idea, like just music is transformative like that. Like a song comes on and you have stuff attached to that song, right? Like songs from your past, you have stuff attached to them. And that song can come on, they can be in the supermarket. And that song comes on, and if the circumstances are right, like you sort of disappear in the supermarket for a second. You're someplace else. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like that idea, like that there are these specific songs that take someone somewhere, but like maybe interpreted a little bit more literally. But again, it's more this idea like the jukebox is a time machine, and there are these two people, and these two people's relationship is central to the story, and the jukebox being a time machine is central to the story. But the rest of the components and sort of like machinery of the story is totally like there's nothing right now. It's like there's so many things that there's nothing. If that makes sense. It's like I don't know. Well,
I will stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Because
we should make just a little weird teaser sort of thing that like 15 years from now, when it finally culminates, it just turns into this weird culture thing where if you've been paying attention to us, people keep wondering what the hell the jukebox thing is, and finally someday it pays off. That'd be great.
I will say,
what's that?
You asked about how it is being a couple and creating, and I think that musically music is like a very natural language for both of us, so we've been able to share our vision pretty easily. But we've noticed that when it comes to like visual art, such as filming, we'll talk about it and we're like, yeah, and we think we're on the same page, and then the one person shows the other person and you're like, oh, I did not see that the way you were seeing it. So it's kind of fun and like more challenging to learn to speak in a language that neither of us are particularly fluent in.
Right.
And that is not a strength for either of us. So
it's cool that you're doing it though, like together as a team, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it's fun because we have different, like, everybody takes different kinds of pictures, different kinds of videos. So it's like you get to see from a different perspective in a cool way.
Yeah.
But
when you always, that's the cool thing about it, is as long as you know, if you didn't have a big team or a big production behind it, it's you got each other.
Mm-hmm.
And you got your skills and your dream or your passion for creating the art, and just like I think that's just what it all spawns from, is just that love for what you do. And
I that's that I think that's the thing.
And you don't do it just for,
right.
I think you're doing it for the right reasons. You're making music from the soul or something,
Right.
and it's got a very soulful vibe to it.
I think that's what I was gonna kind of say, was like, it's sort of an integrated piece of both of us, and I think that we've both experimented with denying that a little bit, and it feels much more natural to embrace it. The creation of art is something that I believe to be very, very like old, and music in particular. I think that it's a really potent means for telling our stories, and I think that I think it's a really important piece of being a human being. And so, and this is just the way that we happen to do it. I think everybody does it. I think everybody tells stories, whether it's just to themselves or to the people around them. Like, we all tell stories. This is just happens to be the way that we do it. And it's sort of nice being at a place where I'm kind of past the point of caring when it comes down to like the idea of being rich or famous or whatever. Like, if nothing ever goes anywhere, like, I'm not quitting. I'll be writing songs until my hands don't work, and then I'll probably still.
And your songs will, for sure, and your songs will last forever too, which
that's
is
the hope.
One of the for sure, and that's one of the the coolest things about it. And you share it with people. Not everybody does record it and share it with the world, and that, so thank you for sharing your music, because I love listening to it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I don't know. Is there anything else we should touch on before we jet? It's been a rad conversation.
Yeah, it's been really fun.
It's been nice talking to you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad to meet virtually.
Yeah.
It'll be cool when we can get back on the road and traveling and cross paths in real life.
Yeah. I would love to connect to anything that you've been creating and give a listen to what you've been doing as well, because I don't imagine that the musical gear behind you is just props. I'm pretty sure you play those things. So I would love to. I'm a total junkie for music, new artists, and I really love, like you, I love connecting with people who I actually can like meet. You know what I mean? And build
for sure.
So if there's when we're done with this, if we can get that stuff, and then
for sure.
Yeah, and someday soon, maybe we'll be able to make it to Helena and we can meet up or something. That'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Have you guys played out in Helena?
A little bit.
Yeah,
we played. There's definitely some rad joints. I'm like, they definitely love you out here. I'm sure they have loved you.
Yeah, we've always really enjoyed playing in Helena. It's a good community.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess my final thought is keep creating. You and all who watch this, make beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
Whether it's music or visual art or
the
camera.
Oh, right?
We're good.
Right as the visuals.
No,
what a coincidence.
Get up and push the button. And I'm like, no, I got time. It'll be all right. But no, I should have gotten up and pushed the button.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Well, sweet. I guess that's our sign from the
Yeah.
universe or
Yeah.
something that's like, well, awesome. It's been an awesome chat. I'm gonna get on making playlists and I'll share you guys some more. And I look forward to connecting more. I'll stay tuned online and I'm sure we'll do this again in the future sometime.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. You guys have a great night and it was good to meet.
Yeah,
Likewise.
thank you.
Jamie and Sean, right?
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
And
The
Django.
lucky Valentines.
Django.
And
the
Django?
dog.
Yeah.
Well, good to meet your dog too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.